The large ship hung in the sky over Seoul like a silver tear. People stopped in the streets, looking up with open mouths. Cars stopped. Phones came out to take pictures. No one ran. No one screamed. Humans had waited too long for this moment to waste it on fear. Jin stood on the roof of the United Nations building, heart beating fast in his chest. As Korea's top diplomat, they had chosen him for this task. The task of greeting the first aliens to visit Earth. "They are coming down now," said a voice in his earpiece. Jin nodded, though no one could see him. He straightened his blue suit and took a deep breath. The silver ship sent down a beam of soft blue light. Inside this light, shapes began to form. 3 tall figures stepped onto the landing pad. They looked like walking crystals, their bodies clear but with rainbow colors dancing inside them. They had no faces, just smooth crystal where a head should be. When they moved, they made soft bell sounds. Jin stepped forward, bowing slightly. "Welcome to Earth. I am Jin, speaking for all humans. We are honored by your visit." The tallest crystal being moved forward. Light patterns flashed inside its body, and a small black device on its chest spoke in perfect Korean. "I am Ambassador Tak of the Galactic Assembly. We represent 42 species who live together in peace." The crystal body flashed with blue and green lights. "We have watched your planet for some time." Jin smiled. "We are glad you finally decided to say hello." The crystal beings looked at each other, flashing colors between them. Jin had the feeling they were surprised. "You are not afraid?" asked Ambassador Tak. "Why would we be afraid?" Jin asked. "Humans have dreamed of meeting beings from other worlds for hundreds of years. We have written many stories about this day." The smallest crystal being stepped forward without permission. Its body flashed with excited yellow patterns. "You have stories about us, before knowing we exist." The translator made the voice sound young and curious. Ambassador Tak turned to the smaller being, flashing red patterns that needed no translation. The younger alien stepped back. "Forgive Da," said Ambassador Tak. "Our cultural officer is too eager. We do not understand why you would tell stories about things that are not real." Jin laughed. "That is what humans do. We imagine. We dream. We tell stories about what might be." He spread his arms wide, pointing to the city around them. "Everything you see started as a story in someone's mind. The buildings, the computers, even the clothes I wear." The aliens flashed colors to each other again. Jin could not read their emotions, but he sensed confusion. "We have much to learn about each other," said Ambassador Tak finally. "The Galactic Assembly wishes to establish diplomatic relations with Earth." "We would be honored," Jin said. "We have prepared a welcome celebration, a banquet where we can share food, culture, and stories." Tak's body flashed with purple light. "We do not eat as you do. We absorb energy directly." "That's fine," Jin said quickly. "The important part is the sharing. We have prepared rooms with special lights for your comfort, and we are very interested in learning about your 42 species." Da, the small cultural officer, flashed bright yellow again. "I am very interested in your stories," the translator said, making the alien sound excited. Ambassador Tak turned to Da again, flashing more red warnings. Then to Jin, "We accept your invitation. Lead us to this banquet." As they walked toward the elevator, Jin noticed Da falling behind. The crystal body turned up toward the sky. The alien seemed to be watching the clouds, the birds, the planes. So much curiosity in that pose, so different from the stiff Ambassador Tak. Jin smiled to himself. His first job was to make friends with these aliens. The curious one seemed like a good place to start. Below them, the city buzzed with excitement. News of the aliens spread fast. Humans had imagined this moment in 1,000 stories. Now they would find out which story was right. And somewhere in the back of Jin's mind, a small worry grew. What if the aliens didn't like human stories? What if they found human imagination silly or primitive? He pushed the thought away. Today was for celebration. Tomorrow was for diplomacy. The future of Earth might depend on how well he did both. The meeting room was tense. Jin sat with other human leaders around a large table. Ambassador Tak stood at the front, crystal body glowing with calm blue light. Dai stood in the corner, watching quietly. The Galactic Assembly has made its decision, Tak said. Earth is classified as a protected primitive planet. We object to that classification, Jin said, trying to keep his voice calm. Humans may be younger than your species, but we are not primitive. Tak's body flashed purple. Your technology is basic. Your social systems are chaotic. And your thinking is. The translator paused, searching for the right word. Emotional rather than logical. An older human leader named Kim spoke up. Our emotions and imagination have helped us solve many problems. They are strengths, not weaknesses. The assembly disagrees, Tak said. But this is not the main reason for my return. The tall crystal alien's body shifted to a darker blue. The Void Collective has asked for mining rights to certain parts of your planet. The room erupted with angry voices. Jin raised his hand for quiet. What parts? Areas rich in rare minerals. What you call Korea, Japan, parts of China, and several other regions. Those are our most populated areas. Jin stood up, hands flat on the table. Billions of people live there. They would need to relocate, Tak said. The Void Collective has rights under assembly law to access resources needed for galactic development. This is our planet. Jin's voice rose. You can't just take parts of it. Tak's body flashed red. Your emotional response proves my point. A logical species would understand the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. We are not few, Jin said. And this is our home. The decision has been made, Tak said. The Void Collective will arrive in 1 month. You have until then to evacuate the selected regions. Jin looked desperately at Dai, who had been silent. Dai, you've lived among us. Tell them we're not primitive. Tell them what you've learned. All eyes turned to the smaller crystal alien. Dai stepped forward, body glowing with shifting colors. Ambassador, I believe the assembly has made an error. Humans have a different kind of intelligence. Their stories are fantasies. Tak cut in, not reality. But they help humans imagine new possibilities, Dai insisted. They see what could be, not just what is. That is why they are classified as primitive, Tak said. They confuse fantasy with reality. Dai moved closer. No, they used fantasy to create new realities. Everything they've built started as an idea, a story in someone's mind. Tak turned fully to Dai, body flashing with warning red. You have spent too much time with them. Your thinking has become contaminated with their emotional reasoning. It's not contamination, Dai said. It's understanding. Enough. Tak's voice was sharp through the translator. The assembly has voted. Earth must comply. Jin watched as Dai's crystal body began to pulse with a strange light, brighter than he had ever seen before. What if, Dai said slowly, there is something about humans that we've missed? Something important. There is not, Tak said. But what if, Dai stopped suddenly. The alien's crystal body began to vibrate. Light pulsed through it in waves. Not the usual color patterns of Novan communication, but something wild and chaotic. Dai. Jin stepped forward with concern. Dai's body flashed blindingly bright. Everyone covered their eyes. When they looked again, Dai had collapsed on the floor. What happened? Jin knelt beside the fallen alien. Unknown, Tak said, a note of concern in the translated voice. This has never happened before. Dai needs to return to our ship for examination. No, Dai's voice came weakly through the translator. I need to stay. Jin helped the small alien sit up. What happened to you? I remembered, Dai whispered. Not just dreams now. I remembered everything. Remembered what? Jin asked. Day's crystal body glowed with a steady, determined light. Who I was before. Who I really am. Tak stepped back, crystal body showing patterns Jin had never seen before. Was it fear? The Galactic Assembly Hall was enormous. Thousands of alien beings from 42 different species sat in rising circles around a central platform. Jin and Sue stood nervously at one side, the only humans ever allowed in this sacred space. Ambassador Tak stood with them, crystal body glowing with formal blue light. The assembly will now hear from Cultural Officer Day, announced a voice in many languages at once. Day walked to the center of the platform. The small crystal alien looked tiny in the vast space. Jin held his breath. Everything depended on what happened next. Leaders of the Galactic Assembly, Day began. I bring knowledge that will change our understanding of life itself. The hall was completely silent. I was born a Novan, Day said. But before that, I was human. Lights flashed throughout the hall as aliens communicated their shock and disbelief to each other. My human name was Hyun, Day continued. I was a writer of stories. When I died on Earth, my consciousness somehow transferred to a new Novan body. An older crystal being moved forward. This is impossible. Consciousness is tied to biology. Species cannot mix. I thought so too, Day said, until I remembered my human life. Until I felt human emotions and understood human stories from the inside. Day's crystal body began to project images into the air. Memories of being Hyun, childhood on Earth, writing stories, and then new memories of working with humans to save Earth from the Void Collective. Humans are not primitive, Day said. They think differently than we do. Where we see only what is, they see what could be. This is not a weakness. It is a different kind of strength. Sue stepped forward when Day motioned to her. Please tell them what we discovered, Day said. Sue cleared her throat. When we combined human creativity with Novan technology, we created something neither of us could make alone. We saved our planet without violence. Jin joined them. Humans have always told stories about different beings working together. Now we've shown it can be real. A ripple of color passed through the assembly as the aliens communicated with each other. Finally, the elder spoke again. If what you say is true, Cultural Officer Day, it changes our understanding of consciousness. But how can we know you were truly human? Day's crystal body glowed brightly. Test me. Ask me what it feels like to cry, to laugh, to fall in love. Ask me what it means to hope when all seems lost. These are human experiences I remember. And I offer my memories freely, Day added. Our best mind readers can examine them. They will find the truth. For 3 days, the assembly tested Day. They scanned the crystal body. They read Day's memories. They questioned Jin and Sue about human culture. On the 4th day, they reached their decision. The assembly recognizes that Cultural Officer Day carries the consciousness of the human Hyun, the elder announced. This proves that consciousness can exist beyond biological form, that it can transfer between species. The elder turned to Jin and Sue. It also proves that humans have qualities we did not fully understand or value. Your creativity, your ability to imagine new possibilities. These are not signs of primitive thinking. They are gifts we lack. Jin felt tears in his eyes. Sue squeezed his hand. Earth is reclassified, the elder continued. No longer a protected primitive planet, but a mentor species. You will join the assembly as full members, with all rights protected. Cheers filled the hall. Even aliens who could not make sounds found ways to show their support. Later, as they prepared to return to Earth, Ambassador Tak approached Jin. I was wrong about humans, Tak said. Your stories seemed silly to me, but now I understand their purpose. Which is? Jin asked. To see beyond what is, to imagine what could be. Tak's crystal body glowed with a new color, one that Jin had learned meant respect. Would you share more human stories with me? I wish to learn. As their ship headed back to Earth, Dai stood at the window, looking at the stars. Part Novan, part human, a bridge between two worlds. What will you do now? Sue asked. Write new stories, Dai said. Stories about humans and aliens working together. Real stories this time. Jin smiled. I think your human side is showing. Good, Dai said. I'm proud of both sides now. The ship sped toward Earth, carrying a message of hope. The universe was bigger than anyone had imagined. And now, humans were ready to take their place in it. The banquet hall glowed with soft lights. Tables filled with foods from around the world lined the walls. In the center, special platforms held light sources designed for the comfort of the crystal aliens. Jin watched as human diplomats tried to talk with the aliens. It was not going well. The aliens stood stiffly, their bodies flashing colors that their translators turned into short, simple answers. Ambassador Tak, Jin said, approaching the tallest crystal being. Would you like to share something about your culture with us? Tak's body flashed blue and green. The Galactic Assembly has existed for 12,000 of your years. We have brought peace and order to our part of the galaxy. That's amazing, Jin said. Humans have only had global communication for about 200 years. Yes, Tak said. You are very young. That is why we have come. To guide you. Jin felt his smile become a bit forced. We are young, but we learn quickly. An older Korean diplomat named Han stepped forward with a tablet. Perhaps our guests would enjoy some of our stories. I have brought our most famous tales. Before Tak could answer, Dan moved closer, yellow light pulsing through the small crystal body. Yes, please. I would like to hear your stories. Han smiled and began to read. He told the story of a rabbit who tricked a tiger, and then a modern story about humans meeting aliens who tried to conquer Earth but were defeated by human creativity. As Han read, the aliens' bodies flashed with different colors. When he finished, Ambassador Tak spoke first. These stories are problematic, Tak said. The first story gives animals human thoughts. The second suggests that a less advanced species could defeat a more advanced one. Neither is logical. Han looked disappointed. They are just stories. They teach lessons about being clever and brave. They teach false information, said another crystal alien. Why would you teach things that are not true? Jin stepped in quickly. Stories help us think in new ways. They help us imagine what might be possible. Dad moved forward, body flashing with soft pink light. I find them interesting, especially how the humans in the second story used simple technology in unexpected ways to defeat the aliens. Ambassador Tak turned to Da, flashing red again. That would never happen. Advanced species would know all possible uses of technology. But that's what makes stories fun, Jin said. They let us dream about beating impossible odds. Dreams are not useful, Tak said. Facts and logic are useful. The room grew quiet. The gap between human and alien thinking seemed very wide now. Day broke the silence. I request permission to learn more about human stories. The small alien turned to Tak. As cultural officer, I should understand their thinking, even if it is illogical. Tak's body flashed with several colors before settling on a calm blue. That is reasonable. You may study their stories while we continue our diplomatic meetings. Jin saw his chance. Da can stay here in Seoul. We have many libraries and story experts who can help. Very well, Tak said. Da will stay when our ship leaves tomorrow. The rest of us will visit other human cities. Later, as the banquet ended, Jin found Da standing alone by a window, looking out at the city lights. Are you excited to learn about our stories? Jin asked. Da's body flashed yellow and pink. Yes, there is something about your stories that feels important. I don't know why. I'll introduce you to my friend Sue tomorrow. She works at our biggest library. Thank you, Da said. Ambassador Tak thinks human imagination is a weakness, but I think it might be a strength. Jin smiled. That's a very human thought. Is it? Dad looked out at the city again. How strange. Sometimes I feel like I understand humans better than I should. As Jin left, he wondered about Dad's words. The aliens thought human stories were silly, but maybe, just maybe, one of them was starting to see the world through human eyes. And that might make all the difference. The conference room at Seoul University was filled with people. Jin had gathered 20 of Earth's best minds: scientists, writers, military strategists, and computer experts. They sat in a circle, waiting. When Jin walked in with Sue and Da, the room went quiet. "Thank you all for coming," Jin said. "What we discussed today must stay secret." People nodded. They had all signed papers promising not to tell anyone about this meeting. "This is Da," Jin said, pointing to the crystal alien. "Da has information that might help save Earth from the Void Collective." Da stepped forward, crystal body glowing with soft blue light. "I have studied the Void Collective from Novan intelligence reports. They have 3 weaknesses." The alien touched a screen, and pictures appeared on the wall. First, their scanners can only detect certain kinds of energy. Second, they avoid planets with toxic radiation. Third, they make decisions based only on computer data. A woman raised her hand. She had gray hair and sharp eyes. "I'm Dr. Park, physicist. How does this help us? We can't make Earth radioactive to save it." "No," Daz said, "but we can make it seem radioactive." A man in a military uniform spoke next. "Deception. Against an advanced alien species." "Yes, General Kang," Daz said. "Humans are good at thinking in ways machines cannot. At seeing possibilities others miss." Sue stepped forward. "Da knows this because..." She looked at Da, who nodded. "Because Da was once human." The room exploded with questions. Jin called for quiet. "Let Da explain." Da told them about being Hyun in a past life, about remembering being human. The room was silent when Da finished. "If this is true," Dr. Park said, "it changes everything we know about consciousness. And it might save Earth," Da said, "because I understand both human creativity and Novan technology." Da touched the screen again. Pictures of strange machines appeared. "These are Novan holographic projectors. They can make things appear that aren't really there. Like special effects in movies." Someone asked. "Much more advanced," Daz said. "They can fool even the Void Collective sensors." "So we make Earth look bad?" General Kang asked. "Exactly," Daz said. "We make your valuable resources appear contaminated with radiation and toxic chemicals. The Void Collective will think Earth is too expensive to mine." Dr. Park looked thoughtful. "We'd need to cover large areas. Do you have access to enough of these projectors?" "No," Da admitted, "but I have the plans to build them, if human engineers can adapt your technology." A young engineer named Lee stood up. "I think we can do it. If you give us the plans, we can make something that works." People began talking excitedly, sharing ideas. Jin watched with hope growing in his chest. Maybe they could save Earth after all. Sue touched Daz's arm. "What about Ambassador Tak? Won't he stop us?" "I told him I'm studying human literature for my final report," Daz said. "He thinks I'm gathering evidence about why humans are primitive." "And the assembly?" Jin asked. "What will they do when they find out?" "I don't know," Daz said honestly. "No Novan has ever remembered being another species before. This is new for everyone." General Kang joined them. "If we succeed in tricking the Void Collective, the Assembly might be angry. They might punish Earth anyway." "Then we need a second plan," Daz said. "One that shows the Assembly why human thinking is valuable." The crystal alien looked around at the humans working together, sharing ideas, finding solutions. "We need to show them this." "Show them what?" Sue asked. "Human creativity. Working together. Solving problems in ways Novans would never think of." Daz's body glowed brighter. "We need to show them why stories matter." As the room buzzed with energy and ideas, Jin felt something he hadn't felt since the aliens arrived. Hope. Earth still had a chance, because one alien remembered what it meant to be human. Day sat in the small apartment Jin had arranged. Night had fallen over Seoul. The crystal alien did not need sleep like humans did. Novans simply went into a quiet state for a few hours to process information. They did not dream. They did not need beds. Yet Jin had provided a bed anyway. And tonight, Dae decided to try it. The alien lay down and dimmed the lights of the crystal body until the room was dark. And then something new happened. Images filled Dae's mind. Not memories from the day. Not facts being sorted. These were different. A small human child sat on a grassy hill, looking up at the night sky. The child pointed at shooting stars and made wishes. Dae could feel the cool grass, could smell the night air, could feel the wonder in the child's heart. Dae woke with a start, crystal body flashing bright white in shock. This was impossible. Novans did not see things that weren't real. They did not feel things they had never experienced. Was this a dream? The next morning, Dae arrived at the library early, pacing as Sue unlocked the doors. "Something happened to me last night," Dae said. "I saw things that weren't real." Sue placed her bag on the desk. "You had a dream." "I think so. But Novans don't dream. We can't." Sue led Dae to their usual reading room. "What did you see in this dream?" "A human child. Looking at stars." "I felt what the child felt. I was the child." Dae's crystal body flickered with confused colors. "It felt like a memory, but it can't be mine." Sue's eyes widened. "That's fascinating. Dreams are important to humans. We think they help us process our thoughts and feelings." "I don't have human feelings," Dae said, but the words didn't sound true anymore. That night, Dae dreamed again. This time, the alien was a teenager reading books under a tree. The books were about space and aliens. The teenager was writing a story about humans meeting friendly aliens who looked like crystals. The next night, Dae dreamed of being an adult, typing at a computer, creating stories about humans who saved alien worlds with clever thinking. Each morning, Dae told Sue about these dreams. Each day, they seemed more real. "I think," Sue said carefully after a week of this, "that you might be experiencing memories from a past life." "That is human mysticism," Dae said. "Not science." "Perhaps," Sue agreed. "But you're experiencing something that your science can't explain." Dae was quiet for a long time. "In my dreams, I was human, writing stories about meeting aliens. Now I am an alien meeting humans. How can this be?" "I don't know," Sue said. "But maybe that's why you understand our stories so well." That afternoon, as they read Earth's most famous science fiction, a message arrived from the Galactic Assembly. Sue watched as Dae's body flashed with alarm while reading it. "What's wrong?" Sue asked. "The Assembly has voted," Dae said. "Earth is now classified as a protected primitive species." "What does that mean?" "It means they think you are too primitive to join the Assembly as equals. You will be given limited access to space and technology." Dae's crystal body dimmed. "They think your way of thinking, your stories and imagination, prove you are not advanced enough." Sue felt anger rise in her chest. "They're judging us without understanding us." "Yes," Dae said. "And there's something else. A species called the Void Collective has petitioned for mining rights on Earth. Since you are classified as primitive, they may be granted permission to take resources from your planet. That's terrible. Can we appeal?" "Ambassador Tak is returning tomorrow to explain the decision." Dae's crystal body flashed with determination. "I must make him understand what I'm learning about humans." That night, Dae had the strongest dream yet. In it, the alien was a human named Hyun, a famous writer who died in 2051. Hyun had written stories about humans and aliens becoming friends, stories about imagination being the greatest power in the universe. When Dae woke, the crystal body was vibrating with a new feeling. Was this what humans called hope? 3 weeks passed in a blur of activity. All across Korea, Japan, and parts of China, humans worked day and night. They built thousands of small devices based on Da's designs. Each one looked like a simple metal disc, but inside was a mix of Novan science and human engineering. Jin stood on the roof of a tall building in Seoul, looking out at the city. Sue and Dai stood beside him. "Are they all in place?" Jin asked. Dai checked a small screen. "Yes, 5,000 projectors across the target areas. Engineer Lee did amazing work adapting my designs." "Will they really fool the Void Collective?" Sue asked. Her voice was tight with worry. "They should," Dai said. "The projectors will make it look like your lands are covered in deadly radiation and toxic chemicals, the kind that would cost too much to clean up." Jin looked up at the sky. "They arrive tomorrow. I hope this works." "It will," Dai said. Humans and Novans working together created something new, something neither could make alone. As they watched the sunset, none of them saw the small crystal drone hovering nearby, recording everything they said. The next morning, Jin, Sue, and Dai waited in the emergency command center with General Kang and Dr. Park. Large screens showed the sky above Earth. Everyone was tense. "They're here," General Kang said as a large dark ship appeared on the screen. The Void Collective ship was nothing like the Novan ship. It was black, with sharp edges and red lights. It looked hungry. "Activating projectors now," Dr. Park said, pressing a button. On other screens, they could see what the Void Collective would see in their scans. Beautiful lands now looked sick and dead. Fake radiation readings spiked off the charts. Toxic chemical signatures appeared everywhere. "They're scanning us," Dai said, watching a smaller screen with alien writing. "Their computers are processing the data." For 10 tense minutes, they waited. Then Dai's screen flashed with new information. "It's working," Dai said. "Their computers are telling them Earth's resources would be too expensive to collect. The radiation and chemicals would damage their mining equipment." They watched as the dark ship changed course, moving away from Earth. "They're leaving," Sue said, grabbing Jin's arm in excitement. Everyone in the room cheered. Humans hugged each other. Some cried with relief. But their celebration ended when the door opened. Ambassador Tak walked in, crystal body flashing angry red. "What have you done?" Tak asked, the translator making the voice sound cold. The room went quiet. Dai stepped forward. "We protected Earth." "You deceived the Void Collective with false information," Tak said. "My drone recorded your plan. This is against assembly law." Jin moved to stand beside Dai. "Your law would have forced billions of people from their homes. We had to protect ourselves." "How did you create this technology?" Tak asked, looking at the screens. "It is beyond human capability." "Not when we work with Dai," Sue said. "Together, we created something new." Tak turned to Dai. "You have betrayed the assembly. You will return with me immediately for judgment." "No," Dai said. The crystal body glowed with firm, steady light. "I must tell the assembly the truth first." "What truth?" Tak asked. "The truth about me. About humans. About what I've discovered." Dai stepped closer to Tak. "Ambassador, I was once human." Tak's body flashed with disbelief. "Impossible." "It's true," Dai said. "I was a human named Hyun. I died and was born again. As a Novan, I remember both lives." "This cannot be," Tak said, but the crystal body flickered with uncertainty. "It is," Dai said. "And it means everything the assembly believes about consciousness is wrong. It means humans and Novans are not so different after all." Tak was silent for a long moment. Then the crystal body shifted to a color Jin had never seen before. "If this is true," Tak said finally, "you must tell the assembly yourself." "I will," Dai said. "And I will show them what humans and Novans can do together." Dai lay on a bed in Sue's small apartment. Jin and Sue watched over the crystal alien, worried. It had been 12 hours since Da collapsed at the meeting. Ambassador Tak had wanted to take Da to the ship, but Jin convinced him that moving Da might be dangerous. Any change? Jin asked, looking at the dim light inside Da's crystal body. No, Su said. The lights keep flickering, but Da hasn't spoken. Just then, the crystal body began to glow brighter. Colors swirled inside, faster and faster. Da sat up suddenly. Hyun, Da said through the translator. My name was Hyun. Su moved closer. Da, are you okay? I am Da, the alien said, but I was Hyun. I remember everything now. Jin sat on the edge of the bed. What do you mean? How can you be Hyun? Da's body glowed with steady, calm light. I was born in Seoul in 2010. I became a writer. I wrote stories about humans meeting aliens. I died in 2051. The crystal being turned to face them directly. Then I was born again, as a Novan. That's impossible, Jin said. How could a human become an alien? I don't know how, Da said, but I know it's true. I remember my human life as clearly as my Novan life. Su touched Da's cool crystal arm. The dreams you were having were memories, Da finished. My memories of being Hyun. Jin paced the small room. If this is true, it changes everything. It means the assembly is wrong about humans and Novans being completely different. Yes, Da said. And it means the assembly is wrong about many things. The alien stood up, crystal body now glowing with strong, clear light. Humans aren't primitive. They just think differently, and that different thinking is valuable. Su looked at Da with wonder. Can you prove you were Hyun? Do you remember details about that life that we could check? Yes, Da said. Hyun lived at 23 Maple Street in Seoul, had a black cat named Star, won the Global Science Fiction Award in 2042 for a story called Crystal Mines, married a woman named Min, and had one child named Jun. Jin pulled out his phone and searched quickly. His eyes widened as he read. There was a famous writer named Hyun. Everything you said matches the records. He looked up at Da. This is amazing. You really remember being human. Not just remember, Da said. I still feel human in many ways. I understand human emotions, human creativity, human hope. The alien moved to the window, looking out at the city. Now I know why I was fascinated by human stories. They were my stories too. Does this happen often? Su asked. Do beings get reborn as different species? Never, as far as I know, Da said. It's not part of Novan knowledge or beliefs. If the assembly knew this was possible, they would have to rethink everything they believe about consciousness and life. Which means, Jin said slowly, they might have to rethink how they classify species like humans. Yes, Da turned back to them. And that gives me an idea about how to save Earth. Tell us, Jin said. Not yet. Da's crystal body glowed with determination. First, I need to learn more about the Void Collective. I have access to Novan intelligence reports. If I can find their weaknesses, we might be able to stop them. And what about Ambassador Tak? Su asked. He'll want to see you. I will meet with him, Da said. But I won't tell him the truth yet. If he knew what I've discovered, he might take me back to the Galactic Assembly immediately. Jin nodded. So we keep this secret for now. Just the three of us. Yes, Da said. And we need to gather Earth's best minds. People who can help us make a plan. Su smiled. You're thinking like Hyun now. Like a human. I am thinking like both, Da said. That's my strength. I understand both worlds. Outside, the sun was setting. 1 month until the Void Collective arrived. 1 month to save Earth. Day watched the sunset with human eyes inside an alien body. For the first time since arriving on Earth, the crystal being felt truly whole. The Seoul National Library stood tall and proud in the morning sun. Its glass walls reflected the blue sky as Su waited on the steps. She checked her watch again. Jin had called her last night with strange news. She was going to meet an alien today. Sue had worked at the library for 10 years. She knew books better than she knew people. But an alien who wanted to learn about human stories, that was new even for her. A black car pulled up. Jin stepped out first, then held the door for someone else. Sue's eyes widened as the crystal being stepped into the sunlight. Rainbows danced across the ground as light passed through its clear body. "Sue, this is Da from the Novan species," Jin said. "Da, this is my friend Sue. She knows more about stories than anyone in Korea." Da's body flashed with yellow light. "I am pleased to meet you. I wish to learn everything about human stories." Sue bowed slightly. "Welcome to our library. Where should we start?" "At the beginning," Da said. "Show me how stories began on Earth." Sue smiled. "Then we'll start with myths. The oldest stories humans have." Inside the library, Sue led them to a quiet room with old books. She took out a large volume of world myths. "These are stories humans told to explain things they didn't understand," Sue said, "like why the sun rises or where rain comes from." Da's translator made a confused sound. "You didn't know why the sun rises." "Not always," Sue said. "We had to figure it out over thousands of years." "So these are just wrong ideas?" Da asked. "No," Sue said. "They're more than that. They help us understand what it means to be human." She opened the book to a Greek myth about the seasons. As she read about Persephone going to the underworld, Da's crystal body began to glow with a soft blue light. "This cannot be true," Da said when she finished. "Seasons are caused by your planet's tilt, not by a goddess." "We know that now," Sue said. "But the story tells us something about love and loss, about mothers and daughters, about why we feel sad in winter and happy in spring." "Feelings are not facts," Da said. "But feelings are important to humans," Sue replied. "Maybe the most important thing." Day after day, Da came to the library. Sue showed the alien fairy tales, novels, and science fiction. Da asked many questions, some that were hard to answer. "What is imagination?" Da asked one day. Sue thought carefully. "It's seeing things that aren't there yet, thinking about what could be instead of what is." "My species does not do this," Da said. "We only think about what is real." "That sounds limiting," Sue said. "Yes," Da said quietly. "I am starting to think so too." 1 month passed. Da learned about heroes and villains, about love and sacrifice, about hope against hopeless odds. The alien read everything Sue suggested, from ancient myths to modern space stories. Something strange began to happen. Da started to predict the endings of stories before reading them. The alien knew what characters would do next, as if the patterns were familiar. "How did you know the hero would give up his life to save others?" Sue asked after Da predicted the end of a famous story. "I don't know," Da said. "It felt right, like I've heard it before." That night, as Sue locked up the library, she found Da staring at a children's book about stars. "Is something wrong?" Sue asked. Da's crystal body flickered with colors Sue had never seen before. "I had a strange feeling today," Da said. "When I read about the child looking up at the stars and making wishes, I felt like I had done that. But Novans don't make wishes. We don't look at stars that way." Sue touched Da's cool crystal arm gently. "What do you think it means?" "I don't know," Da said. "But tonight, I want to look at the stars, the way humans do." As they left, Sue wondered if stories were changing the alien, or if they were waking up something that was already there.